What is good, Defenders Nation? Welcome to episode 276 of the LAFC podcast, now heard in 105 countries around this big, beautiful blue marble that we are all hanging out on. 7 billion people strong, and almost half of them now had to have listened to Defenders of the Bank. That's right. You know my voice. It's the Scarf, J.R. Liebert, and we are coming to you from two different places like we normally do. I am in front of the semi-famous Scarf Wall in beautiful Lawndale, California, the South Bay. And as Philly likes to call me, I never give myself my own nickname other than the Scarf, but I do enjoy being called the mouth of the South Bay. That's right. It's me. It's me. It's the SCARFIE. That's right. And to my right on the interwebs from world famous Philomonster Studios. And again, not sure if you all know this, but the namesake of Philomonster Studios, it's because of him. That's right. Christian Philly Philemon.
Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, fans of Major League Soccer. Hello, lovers of the beautiful game. Hello to the millions
and millions
of Defenders of the Bank listeners. With your statement about how many people live here and how many of them could potentially listen to Defenders of the Bank, it's amazing that we still maintain our day jobs, Scarf. I look forward to the day where I can say peace to my day job and do this full time. Be it with you, be it broadcasting, be it podcasting, be it something similar to what our good friend of the Cooligans, Alexis Guerreros, is doing over at the Golazo Network on Morning Footy. I long for the day where that many people legitimately listen to us and we could quit our day jobs. Although you love yours. I, on the other hand, loathe mine. But that's neither here nor there. Episode 276, Hump Day Havoc or Midweek Melee, whatever you want to call it. We come from the land of Schlafly's, Anheuser-Busch, Purina Dog Chow, The Arches, home of the National League version of the New York Yankees in the world of baseball, St. Louis, the show me state. Oh, come on, Scarf. They really are the Yankees of the National League. Come on.
I mean, 27 titles. I don't know that they have that many. And
no, but they have the most in the NL.
Listen, for all of our good friends listening in Utah right now, he meant the Arch, not the Arches. One of them is a national park. One of them is the thing made out of metal. Just one.
There aren't multiples. That's correct.
One Arch. That's right. Listen, St. Louis, home of some very, very loyal sports fans, especially Cardinals Nation. We had an inside operative at the match, as you told me while we were watching the game today, Philly. Shout out to our good friend M. Fit Molly. That's right. She was at the match. No word on if she streaked across the field like we would have asked her to do had I known she was at the match. Philly, real quick, let's pay some bills. We want to say a big thank you to our sponsor, Flex Power Tools. That's right. Philly and I both have our Flex on. We both have our kits with the star on them as well.
That doesn't happen that often, actually.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. Remember, everybody, look, if you're tired of hearing me say this, just go buy a Flex Power Tool already. Head on over to flexpowertools.com. Lifetime warranty on all tools bought in 2023. So make sure you get on over to flexpowertools.com. Head on over to Lowe's, where they're selling lots of Flex Power Tools. Whatever you got to do to get yourself into some Flex Power Tools, full lifetime warranty here. You heard it here from Defenders of the Bank. And don't forget to head on over to LAFC.com/Mo-Facio. The Mo Facio Futsal Court fundraising effort is underway. Southeast Los Angeles is where we are building the court. LAFC, the LAFC Foundation, the Mo Facio Foundation, and the 3252 are partnering to build this futsal court in Mo's honor. Head on over there. Philly, I don't know. I'm going to go with 14. I'm going to go with 14 because, look, I'm going to talk about this moment later. But if the number 14 doesn't bring you joy every single time you watch anything that has to do with the black and gold, whether it's the LAFC show that we've got once a week on television, whether it's any of the YouTube videos, interviews, or, of course, any of the matches where you get to see a master class in backline defending by one Giorgio Chiellini, that man almost scored on a bicycle kick today. Philly, number 14 just brings me so much joy. $14 into the till for the Mo Facio Futsal Court Foundation.
So what we'll do for this one to make it not seem as awful is we'll average that out. 14
Okay.
over 2 people makes it 7 apiece. And the reason being is because I'm going to call 0 for 2 reasons.
Jesus.
One, the game was 0-0. And then the next reason is because PennyMac, American Express, Burbank Water and Power, Spectrum. Who am I missing? Somebody else took all my money within the last couple of days and weeks. So 0 because Philly right now has to wait till next Friday to get paid. It's crazy to me that I'm in a scenario with Panda where we make good money and I'm looking around going, where did it all go? Where did it all go? Gas, $7 and change when the national average is 3 something. Groceries going up, inflation doing their thing, the Fed keeping the federal funds rate where it is, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. 0. But if you average it out between the two of us, 7. Your number 14 averages out to 7.
Welcome to the Old Man Get Off My Lawn podcast, hosted by one Christian, Philly Philemon. Back in the day, gasoline was a nickel. It was great.
First and foremost, gasoline was never a nickel. I am not that old. Second of all, I never gave a hoot about any of that stuff when I lived in New York. I was more concerned with how much they were upping the ante on my Metro card. Gas is expensive, but I also don't drive. I had a car for 4 years. I put 8,000 miles on it. That thing went right back to Volkswagen. My ride these days is a road bike. And let me tell you, biking my mile and a half to the office, it's quite nice. Biking my mile and a half back from the office, also quite nice, without even trying to do anything or break a sweat. Cycling 3 miles, and then I'll just cycle myself to the Peloton or the gym and work on these guns, baby, because we are, after all, sponsored by Flex.
There's so much happening on that side of the interwebs right now.
We don't have much to talk about as far as the game's concerned, so I'm just trying to kill time.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Look, we want to give a very special happy birthday to our friend Liz. Liz, we are thinking of you. And Liz, I'm not there anymore. Philly hasn't been there in a while. But welcome to the 3rd floor, my friend. We are outing Liz on her birthday. There you go. Philly's hitting buttons.
I didn't mean to hit that. That was more of an accident.
Happy birthday to our good friend Liz Aguillon. We love you so much. Look, we want to let everybody know we are going to be doing a very special podcast, as if 7 matches in 22 days did not lead themselves to enough podcasting. Philly and I are going to be doing a Getting to Know You Tigres podcast. That is on the 26th. The 26th, we are going to be doing a Getting to Know You podcast before the match on the 27th. It'll be like a one more sleep, but a super deep dive into Tigres. We'll probably talk a little bit about a guy named Gignac on that podcast. And then you'll be able to have all the information you need, whether you are headed to BMO Stadium or you are going to be watching the match at one of our dozens of watch parties in Los Angeles. The Campeones Cup is coming up in 2 matches for us. First, a big match against Philadelphia as LAFC heads to the Philadelphia after this. But it will be Tigres versus LAFC at BMO on the 27th. So we'll be doing a very special pod, Getting to Know Tigres. That being said, let's do all the fun things that we normally do. First, this day in LAFC history, followed by a very quick news and notes segment. And then we're going to talk about the match. And I want everybody to make sure you stick around, because Philly and I are going to talk about what we are calling some talking points leading into the final 5 matches of the regular season. And here are the talking points that what's that?
Nothing.
Here are the talking points that we are going to bring up. A lot about the starting 11 moving forward. Who should be the center back pairing, especially after Sammy Adeniran had his way with Murillo a couple times tonight? Who should be in the midfield along with Ilie and Kellen Acosta? Who should be up top? Our number 9 or our number 25? Where does anyone in the 18 finally get some minutes? Maybe other than Sergei Palencia, but maybe not even that. I don't know. We got a lot of things that we're going to talk about. But instead, let's get into this day in LAFC history first and foremost. And I'm absolutely going to regret bringing this up. I'm calling it right now. This is Scarf. I'm an idiot. Here we go. The match was played on September 20th, Wednesday, September 20th. But every now and then, we like to give you a This Day in LAFC history from the day you're actually going to be listening to it, which for most of you will be September 21st. And on September 21st in 2019, LAFC did salvage a tie at home against Toronto FC 1-1. And we say salvage because it was a 5th-minute stoppage time PK by Carlos Vela after Latif, after Latif Blessing was brought down in the box during stoppage time with us down 1-0. Carlos Vela hammering home the penalty kick, 90th plus 5 to salvage the draw. It was also our first ever match with all 3 designated players on the field together. That's the 21st of September, 2019. Those 3 DPs, Carlos Vela, Diego Rossi, and Brian. Yes, Brian. He didn't really do much against Toronto, Brian. And the big sub in the match there, 76th minute for Toronto. Laurent Simon subbing back into Bank of California Stadium, but this time for the wrong club. That's not why I regret bringing this up.
Okay, good, because I'm wondering where you're going with this.
Before the match, there was a VIP reception up in Founders Club, but on the outside where that tent is. And it was benefiting the LAFC Foundation. And that VIP reception was because they were giving away 15,000 plush Hello Kitty dolls. The VIP reception was for none other than Hello freaking Kitty. And now I have lost control of the show.
Well, thank you for celebrating my coronation at Bank of California Stadium, Mr. Scarf. Yes, that is exactly when I came into your life, and you may regret it now, and it's been only a couple of years, but mark my words, 20 years from now when you are gray and I still look the same, we'll still have a laugh about it.
15,000 people got those damn.
Where's your Hello Kitty, by the way?
Buried in the backyard. No, look, I don't know. I have a Hello Kitty doll somewhere.
We need more Hello Kitties. I mean, because like you got to have the flex kit on there.
Oh, listen, I regret bringing up Hello Kitty, but there you go. This is the kind of fun we're having. It was an actual. I got it, Philly. I'm gonna find the picture. I'll send it to you. You can post it on social media with this one, along with our. Dude, Dexter is just killing it with the covers lately. Dexter, we love you, buddy.
One of the greatest graphic designers I've ever had the privilege of working with.
276 episodes, and he has designed so many great covers. I hate you so much right now. Oh my God.
This is all your fault.
All right, let's get into news and notes. So when I'm talking about Hello Kitty anymore, let's check in on Sifu real quick. He was an unused sub. Sifu did not play in the win over St. Johnstone on September 16th for Rangers. It was a 2-0 win. Evidently, their head man on the hot seat for the way that they have started their season. And of course, Philly, what gets them on the hot seat more than anything else over there in Rangers territory?
Losing to Celtic.
Yeah, and they did that. Turns out, can't do that. So he's on the hot seat. Sifu, one of the big subs that was supposed to be changing things over there, has yet to change things over there. Really hard to change things when you don't play.
It's got a chance, though. Europa League group stages tomorrow against Real Betis.
Yeah, and
happening at noon Pacific Standard Time.
He's started, by the way, he's started in a ton of matches against them in the Europa League. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens there. Angel City minute, despite having the lead twice against Chicago, Angel City could only muster 1 point in a 2-2 draw with 3 matches left in their season. Philly, they are now just 1 point. 1 point.
Still undefeated in the Becky Tweed era. That game was unfortunate, and it was actually very exciting. It kept going back to back. Angel City would score, then Louisville would score, then Angel City scored, and then sadly Louisville scored. But it was a very exciting game. And look, if you haven't caught these girls playing, look, the beginning of the season, they weren't great. Without a doubt, they were not great. But since they fired their head coach, Freya Coombe, and Becky Tweed took over at the helm, These girls have been exciting to watch. You're not questioning the coach or the tactics or the substitution patterns. You're sitting down there and actually enjoying the flow of the game. These girls are great. Check it out. Hopefully we get to all see you at BMO Stadium. If not, Paramount Plus watching from home is cool as well. Check out these girls. They're pretty darn good. Keep your eyes out on a girl named Savannah McCaskill. She's my favorite. And, of course, Alyssa Thompson, who is going to be a rock star. Already a rock star, but like a super arena-filling rock star. As she gets older, she's 18. Crazy.
Yeah, she forewent. She didn't. Prom was the same night as a game, I believe, from what I understand. Harvard Westlake's prom. Their next match is home against BMO on Monday, October 2nd versus the Orlando.
I'm sorry, their next match is at home against BMO?
Sorry, their next match is at home at BMO against Orlando Pride. Teleprompter. And their last match, by the way, it was against Chicago.
It wasn't me.
Philly had them playing Louisville, but it was against Chicago. And it was a 2-2 draw, and they're only one
point. Did I say Louisville?
You did twice. But
why the hell am I thinking Louisville?
I don't know. You got, I don't know. Indiana.
Thank you for correcting me. Jeez, we both screwed up something.
Nah, we're having fun. LAFC 2 closes out their season with a match at PayPal Park on September 24th. 4 days from now, last match of the season for the boys at LAFC 2. Really bummed that I won't be able to be up there in PayPal Park. I'm actually, that's the end of our news and notes segment. So,
oh, nope, I got something.
Oh, Philly's got something. Look out.
I got to address this because it's been on social media. We were tagged, we reposted, courtesy of the podcast known as Two Balls and a Mic. Oh. Pretty clever pod. And I quote, as stated by one former president of LAFC, the official name will be San Diego Football Club or Football Club San Diego. And I quote, this is not LA. This is way effing better than LA, unquote, Tom Penn. No, it will never be better than LA, Tom. Tom, you slime ball, you snake in the grass, you dirty, corrupt politician out there. I know what you're doing. You're trying to spark up a rivalry. Now, the only thing you're going to have is two teams from LA and a team from San Jose absolutely hating you. But we don't like you right now very much either, nor did we really like you as you walked out the door in very interesting set of circumstances and ways. At a time when our club kind of needed your guidance, you bounced to create your little COVID mask company. There's something fishy about that, Tom. And now that you're down there doing all the stuff with San Diego, I hope we absolutely destroy, annihilate, and maul your franchise, and I will boo the ever-living hell out of you when I see you at BMO Stadium next time. That you can count on.
Imagine starting a club. Imagine starting a club, like from scratch, to represent a city like San Diego. And some of the first words about the club out of your mouth have to do with another club. Tom, I'm real glad we're living rent-free in that head there, bud. That's some nice real estate, and we'll gladly take up as much of it as you would like. Can't wait for you to bring your San Diego club, whether it's Football Club San Diego Football Club. By the way, while you're here, take the other ones back. We didn't want the Chargers to begin with. I love Justin Herbert, but take them back too. We can have two football clubs down there in San Diego. Tom Penn, we know you're a friend of the pod. We know you listen. You've told us that you listen. We hope you hear this, bud. We're a-coming. Can't wait.
I want to show you something, Tom, if you're watching, that is.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
You left early on, so I want to show you what you missed out on. That's right. We got one of these. You don't, because that's what happens when you abandon ship at the wrong time. Bring San Diego. I don't care if you sign Cristiano Ronaldo. We'll absolutely smash your next project. You can count on that.
I don't think they can afford Cristiano Ronaldo. We'll see. That'll be interesting.
You never know. Their owner was able to afford a $500 million franchise fee, Scarf, and they don't have to worry about paying for a stadium because Snapdragon's already built. So don't count that team, that ownership team out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. I think I may have just broken my phone case, by the way, while we're over here. That was fun. There we go. Either way.
You smashed the teleprompter.
Let's get into the match. LAFC heading to St. Louis for the first time in our club's history. I mean, look, it's a great sports city, right? I mean, I don't know. Is it a great sports city? Let's back up for a minute here.
It absolutely is.
Is it a great baseball city? I don't know if it's a great sports city.
It's a great baseball city for sure. Keep in mind that for the longest time, they were the furthest team west in baseball until the Dodgers and the Giants left New York to go to California.
Sure.
They love their Cardinals. The Cardinals is the premier franchise. But let's not forget, the St. Louis Blues, I think it was in 2018, they won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 2019. Right around before COVID, the St. Louis Blues won.
Yeah.
That city absolutely embraced that team and fell in love with them. You have the St. Louis Ambush, the Major Arena Soccer League team there. That's pretty popular in that city as well. The Rams are now obviously persona non gratas after leaving. But as we all know, I mean, they are originally from L.A. Actually, in reality, they started somewhere even before L.A. They were Cleveland originated back in the 30s. But despite that, they did win a Super Bowl in 99, and they were the greatest show on turf. So there was a lot of love for the Rams at that point. There's not a lot of love for Stan Kroenke. And clearly there's not a lot of love for him in Colorado. You saw what the supporters did by walking out on there. That had better send a message. But then again, when there's 20 people in the building and 5 of them leave, who cares? No disrespect to the Colorado Rapids fans. I feel for you. I really do. But your owner sucks. He wasn't smart enough to create a football stadium, and that is SoFi, to accommodate soccer. Oh, it's just a sport and a club. And he owns 2 freaking teams. He owns Arsenal and Colorado Rapids. Wasn't smart enough to do that. Anyways, I digress. Sorry. That's ranting with Philly.
Yeah, look, they have been, to me, though, St. Louis City SC, the second best story in Major League Soccer this year. And I'm actually I'm not counting Messi. I'm sorry. Like, Messi is a whole different world, everything else. Yeah, I think FC Cincinnati has been the best story in Major League Soccer this year. But St. Louis City, number 1 in the West, when, as Philly likes to say, no other pundit picked them higher than 13th.
Correct.
In all of the picking, they have been, again, to me, the second best story in all of Major League Soccer. And yes, we may have beaten this club in July back at BMO 3-0, but that was without their catalyst, Edward Leuven. And if you watched, I don't know, the first 10 minutes of this match, you got all the Edward Leuven you could possibly handle.
Klaus.
Yes?
Klaus.
I mean, yeah.
Klaus didn't play last game either.
Was there no Joao Klaus there either?
Joao Klaus did not feature for St. Louis SC when we handed them their worst loss of the season.
No wonder we beat them so badly. Wow. They were without their 2 best players. All right, cool.
It was competitive until the 72nd minute, Scarf. Then we blew open the floodgates. Still could have gone anybody's way.
By the way, I know we're an LAFC pod, but did anybody watch the Loons completely collapse in Carson today? Up 3-1. Awful. I know you and I saw it. Up 3-1. And all you got to do is hold off Carson. Not only do they lose 4-3 and draw a red, but I mean, those are the kind of matches that get your coach fired at the end of it. That was god awful. I know we're not a Galaxy pod. I was really upset about that still.
No, I was just more upset at the fact that, but yo, old man Billy Sharp at 37 years old, guy gets himself a hat trick. The guy's got 5 goals since he showed up from Sheffield United. Wow. 37 years old. I mean, you figure he would just be a Band-Aid on a stitch project. They may hang on to him. He's actually quite brilliant watching him.
I mean, why not? He's scoring better than Dayon. And we're not a Galaxy pod. It doesn't matter for that. But good, good on Billy Sharp. You're wearing an Herbalife sash, so
shame on you, Dane St. Clair.
Poop. Dane St. Clair is terrible. Dane St. Clair to me is the most overrated keeper in all of Major League Soccer. I don't like Dane St. Clair. I definitely don't like Dane St. Clair because he had to take Maxime Crepeau's spot on the on El Maple Tree when they went to the World Cup. So just again, I don't like Dane St. Clair. I think he's overrated. I really don't like the Galaxy or Billy Sharp.
Oh, I can't stand.
I don't know how we got back on that. Hey, Philly, why don't we say a big congrats to Ryan Hollingshead?
250th appearance in Major League Soccer. That's kind of a cool milestone, if you ask me. I mean, he's been playing in this league for a very long time, a very, very long time. And he's ultimately, when he's done, he's going to be one of the highest scoring defenders in the history of Major League Soccer, surpassing Father Time himself, Graham Susie. I'm really proud of Ryan Hollingshead. I'm really happy for his contributions. I mean, he's taking care of business, man. And it's so cool watching him do all that. And people shouldn't be surprised that he scores goals. He had 6 last season. He's our third leading. I think he's our fourth actually leading scorer. One shy though of being our third. Guy, like you said in the past, played striker at UCLA. The guy can score goals. So really happy for him, and congratulations to Ryan Hollingshead. 250, baby.
250 caps. We'll get into the lineups for both clubs right now. Unless, Philly, you got anything else in the whole pregame build-up, or are we just getting
all I want to say is just want to, again, allude to the fact that we said this on One More Sleep. They're a tough team to beat at home. A record of 10-3-1, which is pretty darn good considering there's still a couple more home games left. Had they won tonight, they would have tied Atlanta United for most wins what's the word I'm looking for? Most wins at home in an expansion franchise's first season. They would have tied it. The team though that has the record, Bob Bradley's 1998 Chicago Fire, that won the MLS Cup and the US Open Cup. So there's some fun facts. Tough team to beat at home, and we're not a team that's been solid on the road, having only won 3 games.
Yeah, and reminder, coming into this match, in all of their home matches in MLS this season, St. Louis had trailed over the course of the entire season. St. Louis had trailed 100 minutes at home. That's it. 100 minutes at home. So this would be a very, very tough team. But to be honest, we had some shots, Philly. We had some shots. Let's get into the lineups. First, for St. Louis City SC, that's way too many things going on. I'm just going to call him St. Louis. Bradley Carnell leading the way as their head man. And according to MLSsoccer.com, a 4-3-1-2 that they head out there with. Captained, I believe, right? By their keeper and an all-time Bundesliga great who's now playing in Major League Soccer, the very capable Roman Berkey in goal. We saw him make some excellent saves today. Mm-hmm. And look, I don't know. That's actually, I'll go out on a limb and say this. St. Louis would not be in first place if not for their goalkeeper, Roman Berkey. Not many clubs, Philly, in the history of MLS have ever used a designated player spot on their keeper, but they have, and he has certainly been worth it. The back line. Defender Anthony Markanich almost did his best Lionel Messi impression in this match today. Defender Joak, no. Well, that, but the other thing where he almost weaved through our entire front line in the middle of the box and then almost got called for a dive, by the way. But defender Joachim Nielsen, Tim Parker, who, again, that is a professional center back right there. He is very, very good. And defender Akil Watts. In the midfield, there's that man, Edvard Leuven. He is as good as it gets in the midfield. In the midfield, we've got Njablo Blum, Indiana Vasilev, and up top, Aziel Jackson, Joao Klaus, and Sammy Adeniran, who I firmly believe Jesus Murillo is going to be seeing in his sleep tonight. In their 18, their leading scorer. That's right. St. Louis is deciding not to start their leading scorer of 10 goals, Nico Joachini. I really like Joachini. I was really bummed that LAFC didn't find a way to get him as he was coming back over from a stint in Europe. Jacob Nerwinski, Jared Stroud, Novki Thoresen, and Tomas Ostrak. Those are the 5 you need to know for St. Louis City SC, the number 1 team in the West, coming in on 49 points. 6, count them, 6, ahead of LAFC coming into the night. And Philly, I said it before we get in LAFC's lineup. If LAFC did not win this match, I don't believe we win the West. Philly, take it away.
You did say that.
I did.
But we did not lose. Nor did I think we would lose. I didn't think we'd have a big scoring game or a high scoring game, and we didn't. So in a way, I was right. More on that later. Starting in the second consecutive game, the Canadian international himself, Maxime Crepeau. Welcome back yet again, Max, and also congratulations on your first clean sheet of the season. Our back line consisting of Ryan Hollingshead, 250th cap, Jesus David Murillo, Giorgio Chiellini, who at the age of 39 was trying things 15-year-olds do, and Sergi Palencia. For those tuning in wondering what happened or why was Cheeky Palacios not there, Cheeky Palacios was not on this trip, not in the 18 because he was a bad boy. Yellow card accumulation, so he sat out this time around. Our midfield consisting of Kellen Acosta, Ilie Sanchez, and Timothy Tillman, whose brother Malik played in the Champions League today. Starting up top, surprise, no Carlos Vela. We have number 25, Kike Oliveira, on one side. And congratulations to him on getting that start. He had arguably the best chance that LAFC had. Well, maybe second best chance. On the other side, you have Denny Bowanga, who coming into this game scored 27 goals in all competitions, was tied with Hani Mukhtar and Yakomakis from Atlanta United. I don't know whether or not that's still the case. And then starting in the middle, you like to call him the Pistolero, Mario Gonzalez. Obviously, Scarf has a new name for him, Pistola de Agua, pew, 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 shooting out HTO rather than bullets, Mario Gonzalez. The players off of the bench that you need to be aware of are captain number 10, Carlos Vela, coming off the bench, Matsi Bogusz coming in off the bench, Daniil Maldonado coming off the bench, and Stipe Buke. Those would be the only subs that LAFC would utilize today. Let's
All right,
get into
Billy.
the game.
The new Golden Boot race, just so that you're updated. On 14 goals, Yakumakis, Denny Bowanga, and Luchi Acosta.
Ah, Mr. FC Cincinnati himself.
But on 15 goals, that's that guy who did it last year. Turns out he's pretty good, Hani Mukhtar. So we'll see what happens. Golden Boot race coming down to it. It's going to be really fun to see who wins that goal. There's like 5 other players on 13 goals. It's going to be close, man. It's a good time.
It's wild, man. If Denny wins, I mean, that's got to be another historical thing where you have 3 players from a franchise getting a golden boot apiece in 6 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, in almost half of our existence, we've had nothing but LAFC players. Well, 3 LAFC players lead the league in goals. That's something. My most prized possession next to the Ollie wing, I would have to say, from a football perspective. Well, I have many, but at least that one.
Wait.
What?
You said Ollie wing. Wait.
Oh, not the Ollie wing, the Ollie feather. Oh, God, yes.
There
yes.
you go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, Ollie's still very much with us. It's just her feather that Ken gave me back in 2018. Jeez, 2019. That was rough. Anyways, I digress. Is the golden ball a golden LAFC ball? And I'm staring at it right now. Signed by Carlos Vela and Diego Rossi. To get Denny Bowanga to sign that too. Oh, man, what a prized possession that would be. And love to know what kind of fee that would catch as far as a collector's item down the road. But I'm not one of these guys that likes to flip that kind of stuff. Anyway, whatever.
Sorry.
God, feather, wing, idiots.
Love it. All right.
Louisville. Wing.
No, we're great. Maybe
you idiot.
You know what? Maybe you're just so upset about that turnover by Timothy Tillman in the 4th minute where he passed it right to Edvard Leuven and drilled it right at Maxime Crepeau. And you know what I thought, Philly, after that happened? I was like, first of all, I was yelling at Timothy Tillman quite a bit because as we're going to talk about at the end of the pod, should it be Timothy Tillman? Should it be Mateusz Bogusz? We'll see. But you know what I thought is, you know what? Actually, you know what? Maybe Tillman and Edvard Leuven were just doing us a favor because, Philly, I know you have all the stats from our last match. How many saves did Maxime Crepeau have to make last match?
Hold on. I got to go to my partner.
Yeah, calculate it. Raise the level, carry the 2.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing the thing with Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
Shoot me in the face.
No kidding. That's what happened when I was gone.
I hate it so much.
Oh, man.
All I asked him.
That's good meal. Now I got to get back to the pod.
I asked him one
Talk
question.
about this later.
I asked him one question.
0.
Thank you.
0 saves. Thank you, Hello Kitty.
You're welcome, Mr. Scarf.
No
You
saves.
started this. I don't give a hoot. You started this.
No saves. I'm not even
0.
listening.
Go Seg. No saves for Maxime Crepeau.
So now 4 minutes into the match, we get Max. We get those competitive juices flowing a little bit, and he's able to make a very easy save. Dare I say a save that Scarf could have made. As that ball hit right at him, not a ton of pace. Edvard Leuven could be deadly when he gets on that ball. We got very, very lucky. It was an awful, awful turnover by Timothy Tillman. And just in case Max really needed to feel like he was getting into this match, Philly, just 5 minutes later, Leuven again, this time from the left side, and it was a diving effort to Max's left, so across the mouth of the goal. And 10 minutes in, it's the Edvard Leuven show, brought to you by Maxime Crepeau.
Yep, he gets a couple of saves, and Edouard Leuven was my player to watch. This guy leads the team in assists with 10. He's got himself 6 goals as well, contributing significantly. The German himself taking care of business. But where we almost got taken care of and where some controversy ensued was in the 12th minute when there was a ball in the box intended for the team's third leading scorer in Adeniran. There was a potential for a handball on Jesus David Murillo. Giorgio Chiellini was livid. They awarded the penalty kick until pro referee did something that, unbeknownst to us, was spectacular. They made the right call. Hang on. I repeat, a pro referee made the right call. Pretty Rancid Officiating changed its acronym for the night to Pretty Radical Officiating. Thank you very much. When they went to review it, not clear and obvious, they waved off St. Louis's best opportunity for scoring a goal. Thank God, because I would have hated to see what the atmosphere would have been like and how that would have rattled our boys that early in the game, to be hit with a penalty of that magnitude and to go down 1-0, 12 minutes into Purina Dog Chow Pavilion.
I like it. Purina Pavilion. Why not? Look, I definitely agree. It was an awkward ball. Giorgio knew it right away. Giorgio's never been wrong, so I just went with Giorgio. Why not? VAR got it right. Really, look, everybody, we're going to go through minute by minute on a few things here.
But not everything.
But there's just not a lot to talk about in this match. It was a pretty good heavyweight fight. This was a pretty good chess match on both sides. But Philly mentioned it when he was talking about the starting lineups. I think our second best effort of the night came in the 26th minute off a pass from Timothy Tillman and Kike Oliveira hammering one of those worm burners across the mouth of goal. And Roman Berkey could not get to this ball. And if that ball hits literally an inch to the left, maybe it caroms off the inside of the post and in rather than off the outside of the post and out. To me, the second best opportunity that we would see in the match all night. And I don't know what we're going to call the Kike Oliveira fan club, but the Mario motorcade is going to get run off the road by Kike Oliveira and whatever it is that he's doing to drive on forward. Because let me tell you, since we have given him minutes, Kike Oliveira, more so than Denny Bouanga, I will even say, since he's come in, has been the most exciting player on the pitch during his minutes. Now, far fewer minutes than Denny Bouanga, and I'm not saying he's better. What I am saying is Carlos Vela and Denny Bouanga need a 9 to score some goals. I don't know that it's Mario, folks.
Maybe not this season. Maybe next season. I don't know. Look, we still have somewhat of a season to go.
We do.
He almost had an opportunity, though, Scarf. 36th minute. Kellen off of a corner kick by Kellen Acosta. Mario skied over everybody. He showed that he has more than just a 2-inch vertical leap. Mario headed it, except he headed it that way. Not on target, that way. Ambitious effort. And you know he wanted that, and he could have connected with that. Just got the wrong part of the head. It would have been uncontested, and I think that would have been another hard play that Roman Berkey could not have made. But that was really LAFC's entire offense in the first half. There was one scary moment in the 43rd where Marcanic, he had a very ambitious effort, slicing and dicing through some players, but did not have enough at the very end. And he tried to attract a foul on the LAFC defense, but I mean, he dove. And the referee, pretty radical officiating, took care of that. We get 5 minutes of stoppage, and that's the first half. First half in which, well, we had a fair amount of attempts, Scarf. 8 shots, but none of them on target. Meanwhile, St. Louis had 4 and 2 on target. Possession right down the middle, passing accuracy legitimately the same. The only real difference is we had a couple more set pieces than they did, and we had one more chance created. They are a very good team, and by they I mean St. Louis, one of the best teams in terms of converting on set pieces. I think they lead the league with 19 goals coming off of set pieces. So to only have 2 corner attempts for St. Louis SC, we're in pretty good shape, and they really didn't have that much after Edward Leuven's first 2 shots.
Yeah, look, Philly, one of my keys to the match coming into this is Pepper Berkey. And I think we did our best to try. We didn't force him to make a ton of saves, but we at least kept him on his toes, kept him moving all around, especially off of that effort off the post. There was the rebound there that couldn't get guided back on frame either. We really made Roman Berkey earn his paycheck tonight, especially in the first half. In the 49th minute, Denis Bouanga trying to make Berkey earn his paycheck, but unfortunately, after a great run down the left-hand side, he pushes the shot well left of the post into, I don't even think it was into side netting. It might have been, but it was just not a great effort. And then
the effort was great. The shot was not great.
Yeah, you got to put that on frame. There were a couple times today where Denis Bouanga really needed to put that ball on frame. Philly, I mentioned this to you when we were watching the game. I would have gone full Brandy Chastain on everybody where we were at if Giorgio Chiellini puts away this bicycle kick in the 57th. I am telling you, shirtless, I might have even gone streaking down through the quad and into the gymnasium. It would have been a cold night out, huh, Frank? But I wouldn't have cared. Giorgio Chiellini in the 57th minute. And it was a bicycle kick. First of all, it was a bicycle kick by a 39-year-old man. Giorgio may not start against Philadelphia because of that one play right there. We might have to put Giorgio back together again after that. But let me tell you, Giorgio caught it off of the inside of his foot, so it actually tailed back towards Berkey just a little bit. I know. I watched the play in slow motion to see how early his mind started to tell his body, okay, we're really going to try this bicycle. Here it comes. It's been deflected. All right, here we go. And then he gets into the bike, and if he just clips it on the other side of his foot, he has a goal off of a bicycle kick. Instead, it tails right into Roman Berkey for a diving save. If that ball tails the other way, it is, look, Gareth Bale be damned. That would be the greatest goal, in my opinion, in the history of the club. Obviously, I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek, but Giorgio Chiellini is my favorite player. And if he would have scored that goal, Philly, full streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium.
Well, that would have been the last time that anybody would have ever seen you at BMO Stadium, because from what I've been told, they do lifetime stadium bans. Hate to think that you would be booted out for streaking around BMO Stadium. Yes, it might have been fantastic, but it would have been your last game. And podcasting with you would have certainly been a lot more interesting. And I would have to be the one asking Steve questions during the press conference. What people don't talk about, or at least what I didn't see on the highlights that I did have in my notes, everybody was so stunned by the fact that Giorgio went from that bicycle kick that I would say LAFC got caught ball watching.
Absolutely.
Joao Klaus had a phenomenal pass to Adeniran, who was free and clear, man. Absolutely free and clear. Could have had himself a wonder goal, getting one past Maxime Crepeau. But we, once again, are lucky that the soccer gods didn't punish us on our first trip to the Show Me State. Side of the netting, thank God. So while we were celebrating an ambitious effort, we might have been downplaying and been downright distraught by being down. There's some alliterations for you. In St. Louis. Suffice to say, great pass. And that was really... Well, there wasn't too much that happened, after that. We finally get a couple of subs. Mario sitting out, Carlos coming in. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, that was at the 60th minute. Absolutely. Vela coming on for Mario, who was, hold your breath, largely ineffective. 60 minutes of, I don't know.
Pistola de agua. Pew, 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 pew.
He's been playing a lot more like the Mario Brothers live action movie than he has been any of the first 3 Super Mario Brothers games on NES. He has been rough, man.
We got had that sound effect from when Mario would touch a spike or a Goomba or shell.
Right. 67th minute, Mati comes on for Timothy Tillman. I thought Tillman played a fine game. He was fine.
He would have had a fine assist had Oliveira converted on that shot.
Absolutely. Look, I thought he was fine. I didn't think he did anything to lose any playing time, although I really love Monty Bogusz. I want to know the exact phrasing that Kellen Acosta earned his yellow card for. It was very quick, and it was one of those where Kellen knew.
I can repeat what he said.
No, thank you. I actually didn't see because he had his back to us. The referee was the only one that heard everything. They weren't discussing dinner plans. That was a rough one. Kellen Acosta very much so earning a yellow. We almost got one, Philly, from Denny Bwanga in the 85th, but I felt like the guys out in the bleachers for the Cleveland Indians during Major League too high. What you mean too high? Denny Bwanga just couldn't get it going, Philly.
No, couldn't get it going. And then Max having to make another save on Edouard Leuven. I mean, up to this point, I know Denny and Kike rolled into the locker room with 3 shots apiece. Edouard Leuven, without a doubt. I mean, I have Max made 3 saves on him. I'm not entirely sure how many shots he had, but he was, I would say, their most lethal attacker by St. Louis. And that's really it. A couple of subs here. You got Stipe and Daniil in the 88th, 4 minutes of stoppage. Maybe a little bit of stress towards the end when you had that scenario with Tim Parker, but that was the game, folks. Nothing too much to talk about. Like, we really had to try to pull things out of there, but both teams. Did you have anything before I go into stats?
No, go for it.
All right, both teams really took shots on it. LAFC had 14. St. Louis had 12. We had 2 on target. They had 4. They had more opportunities, but obviously when you hit the post, that doesn't count as a shot on target. Other than that, everything else relatively the same. Possession, passing accuracy, yellow cards the same. They were a little chippier than we were with 14 fouls to 9, and that's how it ends. Maxime Crepeau made 4 saves to earn his first clean sheet of the season. He now has 10 clean sheets as a member of LAFC. So congratulations, Max. And it's our first clean sheet effort since we absolutely put the shebang bang down on Colorado 4-0 at BMO on August the 23rd. And so we couldn't beat Roman Berkey, and we couldn't hit things accurately. And that is the consistent problem that this team has had. But overall, I would have to say pleased to walk out of St. Louis with a point. I predicted a point. I thought it would be 1-1, but it ended up being 0-0, and I'm fine. I think this is our second game this season that went 0-0. We played Seattle earlier in the year, and that was also a 0-0 game. But similarly to that one, this game was actually entertaining. I was not bored by any stretch of the imagination. There was plenty of things to look at and see and critique, but I would say all in all, fairly even played and fun game to watch, especially from a defensive side.
Yeah, unfortunately, St. Louis becoming the first team in the West to clinch a playoff spot. By the way, I think if I remember correctly, we also went to Atlanta, or Atlanta came here in June, and we played them 0-0. I think
maybe.
I think,
yeah,
and I Seattle, and then maybe at Colorado. I think at Colorado.
Oh, that might have been, that was a dull game. Maybe that's why I didn't remember it, because I put it out of my brain.
Yeah, I think that was our 4th 0-0 game of the year. St. Louis 4, yeah. Seattle, Atlanta. This. Am I thinking just 3? Maybe it's just 3 now. Now you got me in mind.
All in all,
Colorado. And Colorado. Yeah, that's 4.
Well, all in all, that's surprising because, I mean, St. Louis is the second highest scoring team in this league, having come in on 56 goals, just one shy of league leader Columbus Crew of 57. Surprised that they couldn't score goals, but they haven't had really, if you think about it, Scarf, they've never scored on us historically. We beat them. We still have the net aggregate, if that even freaking matters. 3-0. They have yet to score on us. So at least we can lord that over their heads.
Yeah, it turns out it does not matter. But yes, they have never scored against us, although they don't care. They're celebrating clinching a playoff spot in their maiden voyage in Major League Soccer. Congrats to them.
Stuck at St. Louis.
They are now on 50 points, which has them first in the table in the West. We are no longer second. That's right, folks. Seattle Sounders hopping over LAFC on 45 points after their win over Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. And now we are 44 points from our matches. Houston is at 43 points. It is a log jam from 2nd to 4th. LAFC needing to stay above that 4th overall playoff line so that we can host our first match. And again, we head on over in just 4 days to the city of brotherly hate, Philadelphia. Just 5 matches to go in the MLS regular season, including going to the Philadelphia on September 23rd. And again, this was the second of 7 matches in 22 days. 22 days. So very interesting to see what happens in terms of lineup rotation, in terms of starters, in terms of the bench. Philly, let's get into it. We got a couple of talking points that we want to get into. And the first of which I want to bring up is this. In light of Sammy Adeniran absolutely burning Jesus David Murillo a couple of times in this match, is that a place where we can be exploited? Would Aaron Long or Danilo Maldonado have done any better at all? Or is our best pairing, because I guess we're all assuming, right, that Giorgio Chiellini is going to be the other one, is our best pairing Murillo, Long, Maldonado, or something I haven't even thought of yet?
Chiellini, without a doubt. I mean, there's no question there. And honestly, I gotta say Aaron Long. Aaron Long has had some fine games. Sure, he's made some bad mistakes, and the one that obviously comes back into mind is by the chest mess up that he had where Messi took it and connected with Campagna. But I like Aaron Long a little better at this point. He doesn't get himself in foul trouble as much as Jesus David Murillo does. I also don't see him chattering to the referees as much as Jesus David Murillo does. That being said, though, I would say Muri is the more imposing defender. But if he keeps getting himself into foul trouble and keeps mouthing off to the ref, I don't like that. And yes, he did get beat quite a bit. Not sure if he's just fully healthy and recovered from the injury that he sustained early on, because he did miss a handful of games because of lower extremity issues. But I'm more confident in Aaron Long at this point with Giorgio Chiellini as the center backs.
Yeah, my take on it is this. Aaron Long is the more consistent player, I think, game in and game out. But the upside, man, with Murillo.
Yeah, it's much higher.
Yeah, in on set pieces, his ability to maybe track back a little faster, although not against Sammy Adeniran. I'm going to reluctantly say I would rather go for the upside in a Jesus David Murillo versus the consistency, and this goes against all of the coaching that I've ever known, of an Aaron Long. Even if, by the way, we're going to get angry Cheeky Palacios, which, look, we can all, we understand why he might be under a little bit more stress and be a little bit more angry game in and game out right now. There's a lot going on with Cheeky Palacios. But I'm going to go with upside. I don't know. It might not be the smartest thing. Maybe Giorgio has to do a little bit too much work. Maybe Ryan Hollingshead has to track back a little bit more instead of being more on the offensive end of things, which is where I think he is absolutely brilliant. But I'm going to say Murillo reluctantly, especially after this match with Giorgio Chiellini. Next question, Philly. We're assuming that Ilie and Kellen Acosta are penciled into the midfield starting lineup every single match. That leaves Mateusz Bogusz or Timothy Tillman starting alongside. And again, the reason why we're doing this, everybody, is so that we can start to build consistency for an MLS Cup run. We don't want to have to either play the hot hand or have guys not knowing what they're doing. This is us. Now, John Thornton's not listening to this in terms of, let me hear what Defenders of the Bank have to say about it. You know, maybe Steve Cherundolo is listening
People
to this.
People that work with him do listen to us, though.
And it's entertaining for Steve Cherundolo, right? We're not saying we're coming up with all the decisions. We're just saying if you, for some reason, had to put Philly and the Scarf in charge, this is what we would do.
Then we would be as good as the Colorado Rapids.
Absolutely. So, Kellen, Ilie.
We'd be players, coaches. Be like, be creative. Go do your thing. We'll just kick back right here and chill.
That would be awful. Mati or Tillman, Philly?
Mati. Hands down, I would take Mati over Tillman if that's the question.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not even a question to me. It's a gone conclusion. It's foregone conclusion. It's Mati. Mati always. Honestly, like to me, like I'd rather know for a fact that it's Ilie and Mati. And I think, you switch off between Tillman or Acosta. I mean, Acosta is good when it comes to obviously those set pieces. That's where he really thrives. But I mean, I really do like Mati Bogusz in the midfield. I think that is the best move that we've made all season.
I love Mateusz Bogusz. However,
you're the nicest person you've ever met, Scarf?
No, I actually haven't met him. I don't know. I never met Mati. Mati would love to meet you. Come on the pod. Come hang out. I'm going to say something that I think might not be good, but if
she's right here just in case.
Thanks. If Mati could embrace a super sub role, can you imagine what it might be like, Philly? Bringing off the bench Mati Bogusz and maybe a Kike Oliveira at like the hour mark or the 70-minute mark. We bring on those two guys, and now you've got to deal with all that wiggle and all that waggle from Mati and Oliveira. Maybe you've been dealing with the Mario Gonzalez up until then and you haven't really seen it. Maybe you've been dealing with the Timothy Tillman up until then and you haven't really seen it. Now all of a sudden you get the defense back on their heels. I don't know. I'm leaning in this case towards saying maybe if Mati can embrace the role, going with Mateus Bogusz in the sub role and Timothy Tillman in the starting role. That's just me.
No, I don't hate that. I mean, I'm perfectly A-okay with that assessment.
All right, we got two more for you, everybody. Are we starting El Agua Pistolero or are we starting Kike
Pistola de Agua?
I'm almost done. I'm ready to call it. I'm ready to call it on the on the Mario Motorcade. In terms of starters, the problem is he doesn't give you anything off the bench. Like, he doesn't provide an extra dose of speed. He's not going to go poach you a goal because his runs haven't been very consistent or even in the right place sometimes. I could be wrong. Steve Trundle is probably hearing that and going, "You're an idiot, Scarf. It's not it." But I don't think I am. I don't like the runs.
He has his resentments towards our good buddy Justin Ruderman.
I don't like the runs that he makes. I don't like the angles that he takes. I don't like how he clogs up space. And this, you're absolutely right, Philly. You've been saying this time and time again. Maybe he's better next year. Maybe this just isn't his year. Maybe he needs time in the system. Sure. But what I do know is what John Thornton talks about all the time is that they scout players to be able to fit into the system right away, i.e., Kike Oliveira. And if Kike has been able to come in and do the things that he's been able to do in very limited minutes, and Mario Gonzalez has been a milk carton box of a number 9 so far, I'm leaning towards Kike Oliveira for the rest of the season starting. I would rather see 90 minutes from him.
Yeah, but I like the fact that I like the super sub aspect of him because, like you said, he's a game changer in terms of his speed, his heart, the way he plays. He can rejuvenate a crowd in a game that would otherwise be dull. I don't see the same, like you were saying, out of Mario Gonzalez. But I mean, let me ask you though, like, quite honestly, the guy played. If you take this player out of the equation altogether, if somebody comes in 6 games and contributes 1 goal and 1 assist, basically what, a third of the time they contribute, would you view them as a wash, essentially? A goal and assist in 6 games, do you think that's bad? I'm just asking. I'm not judging. Do you think that's bad?
I think that for the number 9 on LAFC.
I'll get into that in just a second, but 6 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, that statement by itself is what I'm asking you to evaluate.
Doesn't move my needle.
All right, it does move your needle, but it's certainly a contribution, right?
Sure.
Contributed to 2 goals over the course of 6 games.
In the literal sense, sure. But if you're telling me we scored 15, 16, 18 goals over those 6 games, then I'm not impressed.
All right, fair enough. But obviously, just the problem with him is, look, if you look, I feel bad for some of these players in some circumstances coming in. The 2 players that wore that number prior to Mario Gonzalez, they were absolute goal-scoring machines.
Yeah.
Chicho Arango. And then the previous number 9 won a gosh darn golden boot in that of Diego Rossi. I'm still utterly shocked that he's a member of the Columbus Crew. You're really telling me he couldn't have gone anywhere else in Europe? I find that very hard to believe and very hard to stomach. But nevertheless, I think the pressure and the expectations we have on this guy is a bit high. And that's why the players up top, that we've never had 3 raging forwards. Never in our history of LAFC have we had 3 raging forwards. You could say, well, last year we had Denny, Carlos, and Chicho. But look, Denny wasn't what he was this season last year. Denny, we were still kind of waiting on to see whether he would turn things around. I don't want to push Mario Gonzalez off the bus. I'm waiting for one day for him to turn around and go, Agua, Pistola de Agua is going to start super soaking his ways into firing bullets at goalkeepers. I hear a lot of players talk about this time in and time out, that this really, believe it or not, and obviously not for Messi. Messi's, a different story. It's a hard league to adjust to, from the pace to all that. I mean, obviously, tactically and all that stuff, not tactically, technically, these players aren't as gifted as we'd see in the Prem, La Liga, Serie A, the Bundesliga. But I think it's going to come through, Scarf. And it's going to come through when we need it most. And he's going to turn this whole thing around. A striker or even a home run hitter like a Babe Ruth. They're going to swing. They're going to hit big or miss big. And right now he's missing big. It's only a matter of time before he turns the lights on.
All right, let me remind you.
Trying to be optimistic.
I hear you. Let me remind you that Diego Rossi, who wore the number 9, scored the first goal in club history.
Against the Sounders.
And then won a Golden Boot. Then we brought in a 25, 26-year-old Chicho Arango, and in his first 17 league matches, he scored 14 goals. Scored 30 goals in 51 overall appearances. Those are the guys that wear the number 9 shirt. And this isn't like we brought in a Brian Rodriguez who was 19, 20 years old and thought he was the best player. This is a player who is 27 years old in Mario Gonzalez. He's seen some things. He's scored some goals. He's been successful in places. It's not happening here right now. Now, look, 6 games, way too early to run him out of town. I get it. 6 games, way too early. But when you're wearing the 9 shirt, the expectations change just a little bit. Philly, in the 18, I think we can agree that next man up, what we're talking about here, if Tillman starts, then Mati is the next man up. If Oliveira starts, then Mario is the next man up. We can talk about a couple of guys, right, that we can pencil in as 2 of the 5 subs every single time. And you kind of save one for maybe Sergi Palencia if Palacios and Ryan Hollingshead are healthy. That's 3. And maybe you save one for an Aaron Long or a Daniil Maldonado in case you get a 4th on the back line. Maybe you need to spell Giorgio for a little bit, or Murillo picks up a yellow card early or something like that. That leaves one spot in the course of a 90-minute match. You can make 5 subs. Is it Stipe Buke up top? Is it Eric Duenas in the midfield? No. I don't know. Like,
Fufu Krastev, if we're talking midfielders, over Eric Duenas.
So that doesn't mean, that means Stipe doesn't get any more run moving forward. That means Duenas doesn't get any more run moving forward. I'm not advocating for them. I'm just trying to understand, where do we put our talent? How do we set them up? Is Stipe just done? Is Krastev done?
We have Stipe for a little bit. Krastev's alone. So we got to use whatever we can out of him before we potentially either buy him or ship him back to where he came from. He's going to be a player that's going to warrant several minutes. I'm actually surprised he didn't play at all today.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I just don't know where we find minutes for a lot of these other guys in the 18 to keep them match ready with LAFC 2's season over on the 24th.
I love him, but Duenas and Ordaz, they got to sit and wait their turn.
I hear you. I really like Nathan Ordaz, though. I really like the heart that Eric Duenas gives you, but it's got to be tough to be 17, 18, 19 years old and be taking the flights and riding the pine. I mean, I know they are professional athletes, and I know, especially for 18 and 19-year-olds, they are making good money.
Yeah.
But
certainly more than I did when I was 18, 19.
But it's got to be tough,
when I was
right?
20, 25, 26.
We've seen players like, I want to make sure I get it right, like Alaji Male, or a couple of others who have come up through the system, or at least been in the system for a little bit. They get a little upset about their lack of playing time, so they go somewhere else. And I think it's going to be really difficult to keep getting these young kids to buy in and week out if you're not the 2019 version or the 2021 or 22 version of LAFC, and you're just beating the doors off of people and you're getting burned because you're up 4-0 in the 73rd minute. I think it's a little bit different. It's a little bit tough, but it'll be interesting to see where we get minutes for these guys in the 18.
Sure. I mean, the question that you didn't ask, though, is who's going to be the starting keeper going forward. That'll be the interesting one, especially for this next game that we have coming up against the Philadelphia Union. Because one could look at this in 2 ways. Do you start John as a reward in a way, going back to Philadelphia, the city that he grew up in, went to college in at LaSalle Academy, started his career at, or because of those very reasons, you just continue with Maxime Crepeau because he's obviously gotten better game after game, recorded himself a clean sheet, had 4 saves today against the second highest scoring team in Major League Soccer. There can be a case made for both sides. But if we're going to talk about this, let's address the goalkeeper issue. Who do you start on Saturday, and who do you feel more confident starting going forward?
I'm telling you, Philly, that because of our
Eldon
schedule,
Yakubovic, I knew it. Yes.
Abraham
Love
Romero,
Eldon.
because of our schedule, and because Maxime is still getting his legs underneath him. I know he played a handful of matches with LAFC too, but it's just different when you're going up against the likes of the Carson Galaxies and the St. Louis's of the world and now Philadelphia's. I think you start John McCarthy against Philadelphia because I think up until playoffs, look, you already know how I feel, guys. This is Scarf. I don't think that we are going to win the West. I really don't.
Lame.
I don't think we're going to win the West. So
you haven't predicted us to lose or tie all season, though.
What do I circle on our calendar now? We played León, lost. We played Monterrey, lost. 2 trophies, 2 finals, 2 losses. To me, the biggest match on our schedule has to do with winning a trophy. And I think we start, if Maxime is our guy going into MLS Cup, Maxime has to be our guy 100% rested and healthy going into the final, or it's not a final, right? We play it. The Campeones Cup. It's not like we earned our way into it for anything we did this year. We won, so that's why we're playing them.
That's a pretty heavy earn, though, man.
No, agreed. But what I'm saying is I'll start John on against Philadelphia for a lot of those reasons that you mentioned, but also he's a Philly boy, right? I just want to see him against the Philadelphia. I want to see how this goes. It's going to be awesome. But I go right back to Maxime Crepeau against Tigres in the Campeones Cup.
All right, fair. And then we could evaluate how the two have performed, if it's the two of them performing, and then move forward. Either way, now we have a pretty good problem on our hands to have this goalkeeping battle between Max and John, because I don't know, last season it was nerve-wracking. I mean, J-Mac came through, and honestly, I think he deserves to be a starter, and I think he can be for a vast majority of teams in Major League Soccer. I still think he could be a starter for us, and that's saying an awful lot considering how good Maxime Crepeau is. But that's a champagne problem that we have, fortunately. And honestly, to have the veteran leadership, somebody who has played at arguably the highest levels in Eldon Yakubovic is great. Then you got the youngin, Abraham Romero, learning from all of them. Goalkeeping's not really a thing that I've been concerned with. There was one play, we were joking about it, where Edouard Leuven chipped a ball into the hands of Maxime Crepeau. Max had to jump for it. We jokingly said, this was Tyler Miller. That would have been a goal because Tyler Miller never learned from that mistake he made against Latan. And, well, he would have just been walking across center pitch because he would have found himself way too far outside of his box. Anyways, that's too much here and there. Tyler Miller, enjoy DC, buddy.
Poor Tyler. All right. Well, look, that's all the talking points we had. We would love to hear from you at any of our social media accounts at Defenders of the Bank on Instagram.
You say that because I'm the one that runs a lot of that.
But hey, Twitter, I'll get back to you on Twitter. I'll tweet.
Yeah, help me out. I can't respond to everybody on everything. No, how's about we go every other day for the YouTube response?
Well, okay, but not the next few days because I'm gonna
not the next. Right. The next few days excluded, of course.
Listen, I love you all. You're gonna get a lot more Philly and a lot less Scarf moving forward. I am going to New York as of tomorrow for my dad's memorial on Saturday. All our family is back there, so we're gonna celebrate his life on Saturday with a mass and then a nice big Italian feast, as we should. I'm going to get to see a lot of family that I haven't seen in quite some time, and I'm going to be away from the LAFC sphere, the black and gold empire, as you will. Look, I love you all, and I'm going to miss you all for the next few days, but I know because of the ridiculous outpouring of love and thoughts and prayers and well wishes, I know that you guys all are with me there as I head to New York. I can't wait. Philly's going to be handling the podcast. Allegedly, there might be a Hello Kitty sighting or two. I don't know.
Scarf, it's going to be great. I mean, I got Hello Kitty here. I got Coach Beard over here. Maybe adding his input into something he knows nothing about. Penny Hardaway. I mean, there's going to be so many great characters that could be on the show. Hell, somebody else just showed up through my front door the other day. Coach Ted Lasso. Coach Ted Lasso might know a thing to say about these games. Certainly, he could say the word believe once or twice. It's going to be a cast of characters, maybe a panda, maybe not, maybe the gremlins, who knows? Either way, we'll keep it as entertaining. And if I have to do this myself, can I talk for an hour and change by myself is the question. And I want to say, yeah.
I don't know that you're going to want to. But that
Shut
being
up.
said,
The monkeys might fly out of my butt.
that being said, this has been episode 276. So much for us keeping it under an hour, but at least we kept you
Your fault.
entertained. I know that's kind of my fault. I did the whole talking points thing at the end. We would have been done in under an hour, but we want to stimulate and titillate your minds. You're welcome.
Family
And
friendly.
you know how we like to end every single one of our episodes.
Press the right button.
Bye-bye.
Please press the right button.